keep all the grounds out of there. You also notice there's a little bit of plastic on the bottom. The way you make your French presses, it never really touches the water. So I know there's some concerns about that, but nothing really need to worry about. I also set aside 3 different types of grounds. This is fine ground. This is what you would typically use in a drip machine. It's kind of like sand. So it's very thin. This is medium coarse ground. You got little chunks. It's actually what you want to use within a French press. That's medium coarse ground. And then you have regular coarse ground. A lot bigger chunks, a lot bigger pieces. You don't want to go too coarse when you're grinding your coffee beans for your French press. So now I'm going to show you here, I boiled some water. When you're using a French press, you always want to kind of preheat it a little bit. So you pour a little bit of water in there just to heat up the French press. And then put your coffee grounds on the bottom. You're going to use about 8 tablespoons of coffee. If you don't have a scoop, just take a spoon out of your drawer and use about 8 of those. Put that in the French press. Even it out a little bit. Pour the water inside. And like I said, I like to go to about the top of the stainless steel, about 1 inch below. You're going to want to stir it for about 15 seconds, just to mix in the coffee grounds. It also creates that bloom on the top, it's called, that top layer. And then you're going to put the plunger on top for about 2 to 3 minutes. You can also use your French presses for tea as well. The guide that actually comes with the Pyora French press talks about all the different types of tea that you can use. And when you're brewing tea with your French press, you're going to brew it for 1 to 7 minutes, depending on the type of tea. And when you're brewing tea in your French press, the temperature of the water and the tea really makes a difference on how bitter it's going to be. So we've waited about 3 minutes. When you're pushing down in the plunger, depending on what type of ground you use, it's going to be either more resistant or less. If you're using the fine ground, it's going to be very resistant when you're pushing down on the press. If you're using the coarse ground, it's going to be very easy to press down. So we use the medium coarse grind, and it's going to be fairly easy to push down, but not too hard. So push that down to the bottom, and then you're ready to pour. And I wanted to show you really quick how easy the French presses are to clean. When you take out the plunger, there's very little grounds that actually get caught in there. And you rinse it out, and I've virtually gotten almost all the grounds out of it. Much easier than cleaning a drip machine. And that's all today for how to make a French press. Thank you. So today we're doing a video on how to make a French press. Today we're using the Pyora French press, which I just received recently. It's very high quality. The biggest factor you want to look at when you're buying a French press is really the thickness of the glass. The thickness makes it the most heat resistant, and it's going to let you use it for a long time. This is also really nice because it's stainless steel. That's another bonus factor. And then also, the plunger is stainless steel as well. You only need one filter. Sometimes you see advertising bonus filters, but you really only need one filter with your plunger. It's gonna keep all the grounds out of there. You also notice there's a little bit of plastic on the bottom. The way you make your French presses, it never really touches the water. So I know there's some concerns about that, but nothing really you need to worry about. I also set aside 3 different types of grounds. This is fine ground. This is what you would typically use in a drip machine. It's kind of like sand, so it's very thin. This is medium coarse ground. You got little chunks. It's actually what you want to use within a French press. That's medium coarse ground. And then you have regular coarse ground. A lot bigger chunks, a lot bigger pieces. You don't want to go too coarse when you're